welcome back to another cleaning video. Welcome if you're new. Either way, I'm so happy to have you here. Note to self, don't record on time lapse because you don't have time to speak. So this day we decided it was finally time. Well, I've been decided it was time to clean, but there's just so much that goes on here on a daily basis that sometimes the cleaning gets left to the side. I mean, obviously, we wash our dishes every day, we wash our clothes, but the rest of it, whatever. We live here. There's six of us. It can be a mess. Um, and, well, you can see that it can be a mess. A lot of that's the young boy's mess. And sometimes he helps clean too. Uh, Anyway, I had this all recorded and then it got deleted. So I'm having to redo it and I don't even remember what I said. Um, this is a hot sauce disaster. I don't know what happened. I know that it was Bo. That's the 9-year-old. I know it was him because he's the only one who likes hot sauce to the point that he will drink it from the bottle. But it was up there in my coffee cups, on my bags. Like, I don't know what happened, but I didn't see it until I moved my aprons that were hanging there and my trash can and all that because I knew I'd be sweeping and mopping. So I cleaned it. But anyway, um, on this day, I knew that the floors really needed to get done because they were bad. And my daughter was like, that's the 20-year-old that, and she works with my husband during the day. But she's home most nights, and this was in the evening. So she was like, Mama, I'll sweep if you do the dishes. And I was like, well, that's fine, but the floors also need to be mopped. Like, they were really bad. And so she was like, well, I don't like to mop. And I was like, neither do I. But I said, if you sweep and clean the bathrooms, I will do the dishes and mop. And so she agreed to that, and that was what we did that day. So once I got this done, I think I moved on to the dishes, but I was saying the first time I went through this voiceover that the reason the floors are so bad or get so bad is because there are six of us here, and Bo, he hits the ground running in the morning, and once he eats, and then sometimes he doesn't even eat. He may go out and feed the cats. He may not go out and feed the cats, but he's really like, my kids are paranoid. They get that from their mama because I'm one of those extra nervous mamas. I'm overly protective when I'd rather be overly protective than negligent, obviously. But sadly, some of that rubbed off onto my little boy, and he will not go play outside by himself. He has heard me talk about getting kidnapped his whole life, and I mean, I know it's not a funny thing, and I hate for him to be paranoid. I don't want anybody to live their life in fear, but we moved from a small town, which you've probably never heard of, but if you Google Jennings, Louisiana, Jeff Davis 8, Jennings 8, there were a string of murders that happened in the mid 2000s. None of those have been solved. Not that we moved from there because of that. I mean, I was in Jennings for 25 years, but when we lived there, we lived on a dead end road. Um, there was a lot of traffic though, and so we had cameras so that when my kids were outside, I could watch. And like I said, they've just heard me say, don't go by the road, you're going to get hit by a car. Don't go by the road, you're going to get kidnapped. When we're in the store, stay by me or you're going to get kidnapped. It's just, while that's good to educate them on those things, sadly in my case, it did rub off on some of them. And so when we moved out here, we're on a main highway, a busy highway, and we are also on the corner of that highway in a dead end road. So he does have place that he could play safely, although they are building a gas station right across the street. So we're not looking forward to that. But anyway, um, the point is, he won't go play outside alone. So a lot of times, first thing in the morning, he's like, I want to go outside. So somebody has to go out with him to play. And it's so hot right now, and our pool is out of commission for a minute. And so, the housework, meh, it just gets left behind. We eat on clean dishes, we wear clean clothes, but that's about as far as it goes. So here I am doing all of those dishes, and I try to run my dishwasher every night and then unload it in the morning. Like during school, I'm counting down. Not that I'm ready for the kids to go back to school, because I do enjoy not having that routine, not having to get up so early in the morning. Well, I get up early in the morning anyway, but I like to get up, drink my coffee, sit down, enjoy the quiet before anybody else wakes up. And so I'm enjoying that. However, counting down the days until they go back to school, because the other part of me that enjoys my alone time is looking forward to them going back to school. That way, get up in the morning, fix my coffee, I wake the kids up, and then I usually will unload my dishwasher before we ever even make it to the bus stop at 7:15. That way, throughout the day, dirty dishes can go back into the dishwasher. It doesn't always happen that way, and sometimes when I start my supper, that's when I'll clean the kitchen. Um, Sometimes it doesn't happen even then, and it doesn't get done until after we eat. Whatever. Every day is different. It depends on the mood, it depends on the tiredness, the stressors, stuff like that. But, and I do have my daughter that helps with the dishes. Like, we pretty much rotate, or depending on who cooks. If one cooks, the other one cleans the dishes, whatever. Aubrey, which is my 11-year-old, she will unload the dishwasher for me. Sometimes Bo does too, um, but they rarely reload it because, my dishwasher, I don't know, the dishes have to be clean before you even put them in. And so I'm just, if they're not clean, they're not going to come out clean. And I'm not eating on dirty dishes. So, and then on top of that, it has to be stacked just right, because I want to be able to fit every possible dish in there that I can. And I saw a meme, I think it was in my Facebook memories today or maybe yesterday, and if I can find it, I'll add it in here. But it said something to the fact of, like, the mom is complaining that nobody does anything around the house or nobody helps her out. And so then the kid says, well, here, let me help you. And then the mom goes, no, not like that. I'll do it. And that's me. All my life, or all my grown life, when my kids were taught to do chores, I was like, ugh, that's not how you do it. Do it like this. And, I've always said I wanted to hire like a cleaning lady to come like once or twice a week, or whatever. But I always said it doesn't pay, because I'll just go right behind them and do it my way anyway. So yeah, I make my life harder on myself. I've always been like a perfectionist. Well, when I was growing up as a preteen, teenager, young married wife, I was always a perfectionist. When I was a kid at home, my bed was always made. My clothes were always put up after they were folded. Like, my room was clean. And when I got married halfway through my senior year of high school, 11 days after I turned 18. And even then, when I would get home from school, my house was cleaned every day. Now, why? I don't know. It was just us two, me and my ex husband. So he was at work all day and I was at school part of the day. So the house was clean, but it was like that's just how I was. So I would come home from school, sweep and mop the floor, vacuum, dusting, clean the bathroom, sweep the porch. And like back then, I had a washing machine that I had bought from somebody for like $25. And it worked, but I feel like I remember that I had to turn, like it wouldn't switch on its own between cycles. So I would have to turn it to rinse and then turn it to spin. Anyway, I didn't have a dryer. So right out my back door, it was a tiny house. You would walk into the front room and then right to the left was a bedroom. And then once you were in there and you'd turn to the right, that was the little bathroom. But from the front door, when you'd walk into that front room, you'd walk straight into the little bitty kitchen and then right out the back door. Like it was tiny. And in my backyard, which was also tiny, I had a clothesline that ran like from one corner of my house out to a tree in the yard and then back to another corner of the house. And so even that, I'd get home from school, or like sometimes I'd wash my clothes in the morning before I'd go to school. And then I'd come home, hang them out on the line, get them dried, brought in, folded and put up. Every single day I did this. We had our first kid, same thing, house was always clean. Um, well, by the time I had my second daughter, which is the one that helps me cook and clean here, um, it was almost like 6 or 7 years later. And so my oldest daughter was old enough to, she cleaned up after herself. Her room was clean, whatever. So it was like I still just only had one baby. And so still kept a spotless house. And then a couple of years later, I had my third. And well, with them being, almost 3 years apart, I still had a baby and a toddler. So things started getting not really hard to keep up with, but you get what I'm saying. Like the more little kids there are, the bigger the mess. And so by the time I got around to having my fourth child, there was another big gap. And so, like, all the first three were in school. So I had one baby at home, but she had so much crap and she would scatter it all. She was one of those independent, play by herself, didn't need attention babies. And she would just scatter everything. And back then, she's 11. I would, we'd clean it up and stuff. But then my last one I had right at 2 years later. And I just like to tell people that he tried to kill me. I was almost 40. The first time in my life that I was ever anemic. I breastfed him and I joke that I think he sucked my soul. Like he sucked the soul right out of me. I was tired. And I've never been able to keep a clean house since. Like I love a clean house, and I think that the clutter adds to my anxiety, but I get so overwhelmed with it that I just let it go and let it go and let it go until I can't anymore. And then I'm rage cleaning through the house because I'm like, nobody does anything. I have to do everything. Blah, blah, blah. I know y'all all know what I'm talking about. So anyway, I don't know why I went into my whole life story there, but the point is, I used to really keep a very clean house, and now I just can't do it. And you would think that the age my kids are now, I should have a clean house, but I don't know, y'all. I just don't know. I don't know. Um, you know, we do what we can do. We get by each day, and that's really just all you can do. Um, I do want to do a lot of decluttering because I know that the more stuff that's in the house, the more stuff there is to scatter. and then you get overwhelmed. Like with my 9-year-old, I want to do this with him. I've already mentioned it to him and he agreed to it, but I told him, now he has a lot of Hot Wheels cars and he has a lot of Legos, but the rest of his toys he doesn't really play with. And I told him that we would get in there one day and we need to do this before they go back to school, and like right at a month. Um, for every toy that's not broken, that's in good shape and can be played with by somebody else, every toy that he will donate, I'll give him a quarter. And so he was like, oh, yeah, So I do want to do that before going back to school, because just like me getting overwhelmed with the mess in the main part of the house, I know that the same thing applies to him. And you probably say, well, if he makes the mess, he should clean it, or if he wouldn't want to clean that mess, he shouldn't make that mess. But he's 9, and he does have a mood regulating disorder, and so he gets very easily dysregulated and overwhelmed. And so whatever, his room is his room. If it doesn't get cleaned, it doesn't get cleaned. But I feel like if there was less clutter in there, less things to clean, it would be easier on him, well, and me. And I want to do it in the entire house. It's just, I'm kind of waiting for them to go back to school, because I don't know about any other mamas, but when my husband is home, I don't get nothing done. I sit down next to him watching movies or, playing on our phones or whatever. I just don't get anything done. And it's too hot right now to go outside and do anything. So he was trying to get me to go fishing the other day, and I was like, I am not going fishing in this heat. If you want to go fishing, you can go. I will stay in the AC. But yeah, I don't get anything done. Heck, most of the time, even when he is outside doing his, yard where he likes to cut the grass, put his little earbuds in, go do his thing, no matter what, I still don't get anything done when he's home. And it's kind of the same with the kids. So when they go back to school, I'm planning to get some decluttering done. But in the meantime, it just is what it is. So anyway, I'm surprised I made it through this entire video without playing one song. I'm kind of excited about it. I didn't think, like, I'm a talker, talk. I could talk to a wall. But when it comes time to these voiceovers, like I go speechless, and I'm not a speechless kind of person, but it's like, I don't even know, like, what am I supposed to talk about for the next 20 minutes, 30 minutes? Like, I can't talk to myself for 30 minutes, but it's getting easier. And because I have tons to say, it's just I go blank and then it's like, oh, let me talk a little bit and then I'm gonna just play music. But I really prefer to watch YouTube videos that that they talk rather than just play music.